So on Friday in between rounds of the challenge, we were playing some decks, and we were playing Delirium Aggro in the challenge. We went 3-2, and then dropped to go play D&D. And someone asked, "Hey Spike, have you ever tried to build Ygra combo in Modern?" And I hadn't, but I've seen the deck in Pioneer a little bit. So this Ygra is a 5 mana kind of crazy creature from Bloomburrow. It's a 5 mana 6/6 ward, sacrifice of food. However, other creatures are food artifacts in addition to their other types. So your opponent's creatures turn into food. So this basically says ward, sacrifice a creature. It says whenever a food is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, put 2 counters on it. Very kind of flavored text. But the big thing is that this turns everything into foods, all your creatures into food. And what you want to do is you want to turn Cauldron Familiar into food. So that way you can sacrifice one Cauldron Familiar to return another one, and then vice versa, looping both of them to drain your opponent for infinite. And so we started to build this, and we can get into the deck's construction a little bit, but let's just talk about the combo itself. Creature-based combo decks in Modern are, I think, they have a position in the metagame. We have Soul Trader, which is, I think, the most dominant. It seems to be more dominant than Yogg, and I think Yogg at the moment is just kind of slow. But the problem with Soul Trader is that Soul Trader is pretty bad against energy, because it's very easy for energy to put a quick clock on them and then hold up a instant speed removal spell to break up your combo, because the combo is all sorcery speed and relies very heavily on 3 toughness creatures. Compared to Ygra. Ygra is a instant speed combo, something that you can go off in response to removal. So if your opponent is even able to remove your Ygra, which is very difficult because of the ward and the 6 toughness and not dying to Fatal Push, but if your opponent is able to remove your Ygra, if you just have any other creature or any other food in play, you can start your combo loop again. So it's very difficult to break this up with instant speed removal like it is Soul Trader combo. Additionally, this is a combo that you can utilize with Shifting Woodland, especially if you set it up with Buried Alive, if you're doing a lot of self-mill like we're doing here. Shifting Woodland to copy your Ygra at instant speed on your opponent's turn is a really big deal. It's very hard to interact with. It's kind of like Splinter Twin, you're just holding it up, going for it when the time is right. This is also a combo that beats the One Ring. It beats the One Ring even while they have the protection, because Cauldron Familiar does not target and drains instead of pings. And so the combination of that, Gilded Goose, Shifting Woodland, Gilded Goose, Phyrexian Tower, like allowing you to ramp into hardcast Ygras, or Shifting Woodland, Victimize, allowing you to get Ygra into play cheaper. This deck has been like shockingly good. It has been pretty fast. You have a lot of turn 3 wins. You're winning very consistently on turn 4. And outside of Graveyard Hate, this is a difficult deck to interact with. Because you're a Shifting Woodland deck, you're not that scared of counter spells. You're not that scared of discard spells. And you're not very scared of removal spells. Graveyard Hate is the problem, but you do have some answers in the sideboard. So on Friday, when we were building the deck, the list was pretty different. We were playing some number of Deadly Disputes. After testing, I don't really like that card very much. It was very mediocre. Was fine, like it did its job, but I did not like it very much. We're also playing Chthonian Nightmare. At the moment, we were playing Buried Alive then though. I've gone down 1. It's Buried Alive is a card that it can be very costly to draw 2 copies of early. But Buried Alive is awesome because it can put 2 Cauldron Familiars and a Ygra in your graveyard. And then I am right now of the opinion that Victimize is better than Chthonian Nightmare in this deck, where it just immediately gets Ygra into play, and you also kind of have this kind of backup value plan with Victimize where you can get back Overlord of the Balemurk. And so Chthonian Nightmare getting back Ygra and Overlord, it's 4 mana. You have to go Nightmare, return something, then Nightmare, return something else. And so I think you're just supposed to play Victimize. It's just 1 less mana. It happens all at once. It's a little bit more disguised. Buried Alive into Victimize is a win, which is pretty important. And I will say I've been liking that the Overlord backup plan. So if you missed this too, we have these Hexmages that can peel the impending counters off of our Overlord and just give us a 5/5 that is milling us for returning creatures. Very grindy. We've won several games off the back of this in the Mono Black Soul Trader deck, and also like in our first draft of Ygra. I'm down to 2 Hexmages at the moment. Where right now we just have so much dig. We have 4 Rumble, 4 Grisly Salvage, 4 Overlord, and You're pretty good at finding Vampire Hexmage, and what's also cool is like Overlord is not only just like Hexmage or bust. Victimize, putting it into play, is also pretty real. You also, like with Phyrexian Tower, you're also just going to hardcast this sometimes against the grindier decks. This card has just been like shockingly good, and I really want to build a Felia Overlord deck for tomorrow. That's something I didn't get to this weekend, but want to get to. Anything else? The one of Bloodghast was cut, and then it was cut because I wasn't buried aliving for it very much, and then once I added Victimize, I realized I needed the Bloodghast back so I could have a 0-mana creature to like start for Victimize sometimes. All right, I think that's going to be the last thing. This deck is not very good against Surgical Extraction, and I think that is kind of okay. All right, this hand it always had to mulligan 2 Rumbles, but we're going to go ahead and do that. All right. Let's keep this. I think I'm going to put Ygra on the bottom here. And then we do have Overlord into Hexmage on turn 3, which is nice. Any thought on a split of Nightmare and Victimize just because Victimize is scary against removal? Sorry, did I not put... Oh, sorry, I haven't put it back yet. I had not put it back yet. Victimize is just better than Nightmare, I think. I just kind of full send. Victimize is stronger than Nightmare. Obviously, it's not a strictly better card, but I'm only playing 3. I would play the 4th Victimize before the first Nightmare. I just think the card is stronger than Nightmare in this deck, without getting too technical, I guess. Okay, we did mill a Ygra. We also have Delirium. Probably okay. So this is Artifact Duel. I thought this for a second was the black-blue MDFC. Gonna go ahead and play this Overlord. I already have a Hexmage. I think I'm just going to take another one just in case my opponent has a Metallic Rebuke for the first one. Jerry, the 17 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. So we have missed our land drop this turn. I'm on 23 lands plus 4 Gilded Geese at the moment, which I think is like a pretty good ratio. I could also Hexmage to like reset Urza Saga, which is kind of funny. All right, mill 4, return a creature, a non-avatar creature to our hand. Yeah, I just don't think we need to put Ygra in our hand here. Totally could, I guess. Ted with the 7 months, Tomato Bisque with the 26. Appreciate y'all. One, two, three, four, five, six. So the Saga token will now be bigger than our Overlord. That is a pretty good pickup, though. So now I think I'm going to literally pick up the Ygra. Since the Phyrexian Tower now puts me 1 mana away from casting it and winning the game with it next turn. I did not mill another Cauldron Familiar. So basically my options here are to Hexmage the Urza Saga out of fear of Nile Spellbomb, which is pretty slow. Or my option, I think that I just can probably play around Nile Spellbomb well enough. Let's first just sacrifice this Citrus Supplier to see if I mill over another Cauldron Familiar naturally, which I do not do. So I'm just going to go Buried Alive and then grab... I think I only want to grab 1 Cauldron Familiar, so that way I'm not exposing myself to Nile Spellbomb too much. And then I'm also going to put a Ygra in the yard. And then we'll play this Familiar out. Maybe some Bogger Trawlers to find lands over the Overlord. They're just too tough on the mana in your Phyrexian Tower, Shifting Woodland deck. I get the idea for sure, but I tried and I just did not feel like they fit. Would Emperor of Bones be good? A reanimation effect you can find with Salvage Overlord. Yeah, maybe Emperor could be better than Victimize. I've been liking Victimize a lot, though. Emperor is pretty slow overall, but maybe the card quality is higher. So they have a Relic of Progenitus. In formats you don't have Hexmage, what other options would you include? I don't know. I'm not sure that Overlord is worth it without Hexmage, so that's kind of something you'll have to answer for yourself, I think. All right, taking 10. This one's not looking so good. Interesting. So we'll see if they pop the relic here. They do not pop the relic. They have a Metallic Rebuke. Yeah, I mean, I think we're still getting cooked against the relic anyways. Okay. A weird game one. I'm going to bring in the Haywire Mites. I don't know if I also want Decays. This being 2 types is pretty nice. I'm going to go, I think I cut the Hex Mages and Overlord number 4, especially because I have some extra types in there. Hex Mages for Overlord. It's like our third deck, or third time playing this combo, but it's been pretty good. Hex Mage peeling the counters off Overlord has been a nice plan. I'm not sure exactly what numbers you want to be playing with it, but I've been kind of generally liking it so far. Abrupt Decay for Frogs. We think they have Psychic Frog in their deck. Psychic Frog Affinity. Is that a thing? I'm going to play 1, I think. Yeah, Decay is just kind of good because it hits all the lock pieces against you, with besides Leyline of the Void, which you have Haywire Mite for. Definitely not one you see that often. Interesting is a creature combo deck that entirely dodges Damping Matrix. Yeah, it's been pretty good. Not that that specifically is the most relevant, but just in general, the deck's been good. Yeah, this is mostly for combo lock pieces. Turn 1 Shadow Spear. Playing up Midnight. Okay. Well, don't mind if I do. I think when I get Overgrown Tomb. Do you think Overlord would be a staple in Modern? It is playable in Modern. It is a nice enabler in a similar way that Malevolent Rumble is a playable Modern card. In a similar way, Malevolent Rumble is a playable Modern card. Overlord is a playable Modern card. It is a nice enabler, and it's not, I think, that much more complicated than that. Teamasil. There is no I in Teamasil. At least not where you think. Thank you for the 8 months. Alright, let's just salvage here. Maybe try to hit our land drop. Nice to pick up a Cauldron Familiar. Just thinking if I want to do anything else. It seems like it's going to be worth it for me to go sack this, tap for this for green, sack the Goose to the tower, play a Supplier, then play a Salvage. And then there's our second Cauldron Familiar. So looking for a Ygra. No Ygra to be found yet. I think we just take the Woodland so we could hardcast it. Although, oh, we have the Bloodghast too. And Bloodghast is nice. Yeah, and then if we don't find anything to do, we can like Victimize Haywire Mites. Big Fluff with the 52, Ryan with the 39. Hope you all are doing well. We also get like 3 more looks by Phyrexian Towering the Stitcher Supplier potentially, but also just victimizing the Saga does seem fine. Okay, but now that I've drawn another Supplier, I get 6 looks at the Ygra, so let's just go for that. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, no Ygra's in the top 30. A classic. So we'll go Victimize, return Haywire Mite, sacking Supplier after this resolves. I always forget that it's not part of the cost. Right. Exile the Saga. And then we have Overlord we could copy with our Shifting Woodland to get in with. Been away from Magic Online. What is even this modern meta? Modern has been just kind of good in general. I'll say I've been having a lot of fun with it lately. It is certainly all over the place. Opponent probably misclick there. Can't imagine that they meant to not attack. All right, 3 more looks. Actually, 6 more looks at a Ygra. You know, we get a lot of looks at the card, but it does have to be somewhere in the top 4. Right now, it has to be in the top 40 cards. Come on. Nope, was not in the top 40 cards today. So I think I'm just going to go Decay the Plating, and then the Mite there, Bridge. To work with the 46 months. Thank you, welcome back. Appreciate you. I'm okay trading Bloodghast for one of these. Ride the Mine 37 to work 46. People are sleeping on creativity. We'll see, maybe. I know you're a long time fan. I've been kind of wanting to play Vaultborn Tyrant over Archon because it's good against the ring, but maybe more so because Vaultborn Tyrant is really sweet. Alright. Grab Overlord, or copy Overlord. But it's not going to be better than Archon, I think, still. Alright, no Ygras in the top 45 cards. Good morning, everybody. Match number 1 of the day. I'm going to grab a Haywire Mite here. I think I am going to go ahead and play this tower and the Mite. Nice to be able to have, you know, mited them out of the game. There we go. I will see Phyrexian Tower has also felt so nice for this archetype. Just like you actually have like the juice to jump into. Alright, so hopefully I don't have a surgical, but I'm gonna go ahead and just start the combo while my opponent has no blue mana up. I think a lot of modern gamers not super familiar with this. Shaka with the 38 months. Back from vacation. Hope you had a good vacation. Things have been going well. You okay, Esther? We cleaned the carpets, which is, I guess you can see some of the, like the sheets and stuff back there. Esther's moving some chairs around. Okay, going to game 3. Weird one. Is there any way to play Protean Hulk? Seems like a good way to get the combo going. You'd have to play Footsteps of the Goryo. That could possibly be the play. Protean Hulk is just, is it 7 mana value or 6? Yeah, it's 6, so like it doesn't get the whole combo by itself. Athena's doing really good. Thank you for checking. Uchi out the 29. Welcome back. Alright, let's run this again. Yeah, if it was 1 more mana value, it'd be nice. Maybe there's like something we could include. I guess we could include like one like young necromancer or something. If we had 1 young necromancer, then we would go Hulk for necromancer familiar, get back Protean Hulk, get Ygra second familiar. Although the problem is also that we need a familiar in the graveyard, so like that's also kind of a problem, right? I'm gonna lead on Supplier here. Don't want to let them know I have a Mite. Should I go with the 49? Crispy with the 29? Appreciate y'all. Well, it's got 1 card in their hand. 2 cards in their hand now. Oh, and a relic. Well, I'm probably need to mite the Saga and not the relic, since this is a relic that makes 2 like 12/12s. I can like Boseiju the relic probably. So we're gonna have 2 cards in their hand. 1 card in their hand after they play a Mistveil Bridge. Now maybe they're thinking about popping the Relic to find some action. I think that would probably be ill-advised. They play their Ornithopter for turn, and then they pass back. I think let's just Surveil instead of playing the cat out. Woodland is a nice tool. I think at this point in the game, I'm going to graveyard it, though, despite me having the Rumble to maybe just get Delirium again. There's another Saga. Now, I do think at this point I need to Boseiju the Relic. I'm going to go ahead and pop this, I think. Seems like that's more valuable than like getting a basic, right? Now, we need them to not top deck Metallic Rebuke here. That would be pretty critical. Let me see. Do I still have my second Mortuary? Yeah, I didn't mill it. So let's go Rumble. There's a Ygra, there's an Overlord. Seems like I should just grab Overlord, and then I can put the Ygra into my hand here. And then potentially mill a second Cauldron Familiar. Okay, not yet. But for 4 deeper, passing back. Do they consider Glorious Vengeance? Yeah, I mean, it's like Victimize, I think, is so much better because it just gets back Overlord. That's at least been my impression so far. You draw a Shifting Woodland for turn. Just thinking about to sack the spawn or to not sack the spawn. I think I'm going to leave the spawn in play. I can sack it at instant speed to grow my Ygra. Pass back. Now, I wonder how often they're going to get Shadow Spear. I don't think I'm dead. I'm not dead to Shadow Spear, and if they Shadow Spear, I can block with my Supplier, which gives me like 3 more looks at my second Familiar. But if they don't get Shadow Spear, they can get some Graveyard Hate. But I can play through the Graveyard Hate pretty well with my board. Can jump block for a while. I guess they could have Needle. Why not playing Cat and Win? You don't understand the combo. You need 2 cats. Okay, Thoughtcast, draw 2. Is the impending enchantment worth in the deck? Are you doing anything else with Hexmage? Is this one? It's been good. Yeah, it's been good. It's also like to some extent we're still testing the new card. I have liked it. Yes, I'm going to continue playing it for now. Okay, so we get 4 looks at a cat. I guess 5 if you count our draw step. And then we also have like a lot of draws that like put a cat in the yard or can put a cat in the yard. We could also find a Haywire Mite, I guess. Alright, we won. Not right now, but when we untap. We even beat Surgical. Can hand. Alright, keeping this, we could go turn 2 Buried Alive here. Spike, we should have played out a cat earlier because we needed to have it in the yard to start the combo. I disagree with you. I made the conscious decision to have my spawn token in play instead of my cat token the turn previously, which I'm like, there's not a big difference between surviving combat, milling over a cat, and then and comboing versus just surviving combat, untapping, and then comboing. There's basically no difference. And the spawn token was, I think, valuable enough to keep and not take that line. Maybe should have got Overgrown Tomb. I mostly get punished if I draw Shifting Woodland. We do mill a Ygra, which is nice. The argument is if we drew the second cat, we couldn't combo. The argument is if we drew the second cat, we couldn't combo. What? Oh, so that way you could sacrifice the first cat as a food. I see. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Maybe you're right. I take my Bear to Live, obviously, and then we draw another Supplier, which I guess I'm just jamming before we Surveil. We mill nothing too relevant. We do have an Overlord in the yard for top deck Victimize, I guess. Opponent's playing probably, I don't, Mishra's Bauble, I guess, means I like Shadow. Are we still feeling good about Buried Alive is doing well? It's a pretty important tutor for the deck, yeah. I'm down to 3 because you really just don't want to draw 2 copies early, but I'm liking it. Yeah, I'm liking it well enough. Okay, playing a FOMO. Talent seems better than Hexmages. I don't know what card you're talking about when it comes to talent. Innkeeper's Talent? Is that like a protection spell? So we've drawn an Overlord. I think I just want to... I don't have a Hexmage in my yard, do I? I don't. Well, I guess... Sorry, I have a Ygra in the yard, though. So, I should just be casting this so that I can just cast Ygra next turn. And potentially go off. Yeah, we're going to be able to combo next turn now. Have to fade another Thoughtseize, I guess. Look, Mom, with the 11 months. Appreciate you. Welcome back. Yeah, Wild Slash is kind of... both it and Tarfire, I think, are better than Lightning Bolt at the moment, which is funny. Scarred Scavenger's Talent. Oh yeah, this card is not close to playable in Modern. This card is like, if you think Overlord is slow, this card is much worse in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. This is just not a Modern card, I think. But I also thought Ygra wasn't a Modern card, so take that with a grain of salt, I guess. Talent carries the Pioneer deck. It's just it's just apples and oranges almost, you know. The bobble off this NT trigger. And it's also, and like, we're in Modern, so we have like a lot of like really nice enablers that you don't have in Pioneer. We have Rumble, we have Buried Alive, we have Victimize, we have Shifting Woodland, we have Phyrexian Tower. All of these cards are like such a big deal. Phyrexian Tower especially is just like... Ygra's just not that tough to cast. Okay, you're dead. Opinions on the Oculus, Unearthable, Murktide. People seem to be finding success. Yeah, Edgar 5-0 to League and then won like the face-to-face open, right? With the Unearth Oculus shell. It's very similar to like the Monastery Mentor Unearth shells in the past, but Oculus is better to cast. I don't love that you have to play like 4 Thought Scour, that Egra's playing like 4 Thought Scour. Maybe Scour's just good. I just kind of hate having to play like all these like no card selection cantrips sometimes, but maybe I'm just hating for no reason. I think that so they're playing Inti, they're playing FOMO, they're playing Thoughtseize, they're playing Bobble. They could be Hollow One, but they're probably a Shadow deck. So I think assuming Shadow, we're gonna play the Decays, because Shadow's more likely to have cards like Nile, Spellbomb, Unlicensed Hearse, Thoughthy Voidwalker. But Hollow One is more likely to have like Surgical and Haywire Mite. So let's just bring these in for now. Endurance also turning off their Delirium could be okay. Did I consider Oof with Ygra? Seems like a little weird, just like activated abilities of like opponent's creatures can't be activated if you have Ygra in play. Doesn't seem exactly good. I think I'm just gonna still... on the draw. Just Overlord's kind of slow. I'm not sure. Oculus triggers Satoro. Yeah, I do think that that's interesting too. That like when I've been kind of wanting to build a Satoro version of Oculus when I get around to Oculus, but it seems like maybe I'm just like not going to get around to it before it gets solved, which is okay. You know, it is surprising that we're just like all in on Ygra, but like, yeah, I mean, all in, but this deck has been good. This deck has been like weirdly good and promising. It's like this combo is like it's a little slower than Soul Trader, right? But it is tough to disrupt. It's tough to disrupt, especially with Shifting Woodlands. And like one thing that has me very excited about this deck is that it feels like we're making very good use of Phyrexian Tower in a way that like basically I don't think we've played a better Phyrexian Tower deck yet. Okay, so we do have Delirium, and we also have a Overlord for our Shifting Woodland potentially. They did take the Decay, so it makes me think that they have hate card here though. Is Rest in Peace the best card that no one plays? Maybe, like, yeah, like Rest in Peace has been like this kind of for a while. Incredible card that sees essentially no play. Okay, so let me sack this. If I mill over a Familiar or a Ygra or a Bloodghast, we can win next turn. Unfortunately, I didn't mill over any of those cards, so I'm definitely gonna put a Ygra and a Cauldron Familiar in the yard, and then I could put a second Cauldron Familiar in the yard. But I think it's probably a bit better to put a Bloodghast there. Oh, did I board out the Bloodghast? Looks like I did. I waffled on it a little bit. Okay, so this is kind of just simple then. And then I don't think there's any card that lets us combo next turn, but then turn 4, assuming no Graveyard Hate, is going to be basically impossible for them to stop. Because we're going to be able to have like Goose, Cauldron Familiar, just have like a million food tokens to stop them. Although, what if we get Lightning Skelementaled here? Okay. That was pretty good. Chef Wood, 17 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Is it crazy to want one white source to Buried Alive for Unearth Reanimate guy from Mage 2? I do think it's crazy. Yeah, that card kind of sucks, and I don't know. I'm not very into it. You're not the first person to suggest it. It could be better than I think, but I don't love the making the mana worse too. All right, this is gonna be a tough one to win. The opponent is playing a deck you could have brew. What does this mean? That they're playing a deck I have brewed, or playing a deck I had the potential to brew and then failed? But we've been playing, a lot of decks like this. Duskmourn has been out for a week, and I think we've done a great job of like figuring out some of the FOMO, Delirium aggro, Hollow One stuff. Well, yeah, still not feeling very optimistic. Did we ever do Improve Bones? Yeah, we played some Improve Bones decks. I think they're saying it seems like a spite deck. Yeah, it seems like they're saying that, but just wasn't sure that that's what they're saying. So I'm going to put a counter on the Trawler here. I think we're just going to sack our food token. Why is it born Oculus spiking price? Edgar has been doing really well with Oculus in this like Demir Unearth Shell. Won the face-to-face opens tournament with it. Okay, so they flipped over a Fatal Push. So yeah, I was going to go ahead and block the NT. I guess it's better to get back Familiar than block NT, because this is basically +3 life, but it's also -1 life for them. So it's like +1 on the life gain trigger, then -1 for there, then -2 for the NT. I don't know if I'm articulating that very well. I guess it's a little bit worse against second removal spell though. A challenge to paper tournament was one. Edgar's also very, very, good at deck building, good at Magic. I worked with him on the CFB team for Barcelona. Very bright young man. Okay, there's a Victimize. No creature in play. Also, Graveyard got nuked by this MDFC. We're going to game 2. Sorry, going to game 3. So maybe we could try cutting the Buried Alive package. It's kind of interesting. I think I still want the Victimizes. since it doesn't get boggarted as bad. But maybe we'll try. Maybe we'll try playing endurances. Let's let's just try this plan. It's very important. Like when you're playing a new deck like this, you just try different plans and see what's working and what's not. Yeah, there are also plenty of 5-0s with the card. Okay, it's also I was thinking about what to say about Edgar's deck when I got asked about it today, and I've forgotten to even give this part of spiel. I think they're not playing that much removal. I'm going to keep this on the hope that my Goose lives. This Tan is just like a little too strong. So the thing about the Unearth Oculus deck, which I think is what's working for it compared to Dimir Murktide, is like kind of simply put, that deck seems better against energy than Dimir Murktide. Unearthing your Oculus, powering out Oculus early, it seems like you can just contend on the board with Boros energy in a way that Dimir Murktide can't. And there's just so much energy in the format. This is such a big dynamic of the format that, like, if that's the case, if this Oculus build is just much better against Boros, which it looks like it seems like Edgar with his Unearth build has like solved a pretty critical thing when it comes to Modern, which is being good against combo decks and being good against energy. Being a Murktide shell, you're going to be good against combo decks since you're playing tons and tons of permission. And if the Oculus just like solves the energy matchup, or at the very least makes it like reasonable, it's pretty exciting. I think I'm going to salvage, just get the extra look at the land here. Okay, don't find a black source. We do find a land, and we also put a Ygra in the yard with Shifting Woodlands, which is nice. Yeah, also Matt had a pretty interesting Blade of the Blood Chiefs combo deck that he RCQ with, that's playing Evolution Mage. Is that the name of the Eternal Witness when you get a counter on it? He's comboing that with Walking Ballista and Blade of the Blood Chief, which is pretty cool. Takes the Overlord here. Probably should have taken the Rumble. Either way, I'm taking 2. Now, they know about this Endurance, so if I draw a land, I'm not just, like, slamming it. But I guess let's get ready to Rumble. Okay, we milled a Cauldron Familiar, which is awesome. I think that I should Overlord here so that I have the ability to Hexmage my Overlord and like, attack on that angle, which seems kind of important if my opponent Graveyard hates me next turn. And I think I'm going to putting Ygra in my hand is really awkward, I guess. Yeah, it's a bit too awkward with the Shifting Woodland combo plan here. But I'm just kind of worried about getting boggarted. Yeah, also playing the Eldrazi Root Wallow. Yeah, not Evolution Sage. I can never remember the name of the new Eternal Witness that whenever it gets a counter on it, you get to return a permanent. I was looking for combos with that card for a little bit. I didn't find Blade of the Blood Chief plus Ballista. Matt Nass, also very good deck builder, of course. One of the best to ever do it. Okay, there's a FOMO. Evolution Witness, thank you. I'm going to take 3 here. Down to 12. And so I draw a Stitch Supplier, which means I can really only Endurance or Hexmage. Endurance seems like the safer play by by a lot. I guess we could do both, but yeah, I really don't want to pitch the Endurance. So they don't have Delirium, so we don't need to Endurance now. I guess we could Endurance in response to the trigger if they did. Well, so now, I mean, what kills this? Push doesn't kill my Endurance. Bolt doesn't kill the Endurance. I mean, I'm gonna try to block something. I guess Terminate. Yeah, we did see a Terminate earlier. Yeah, there it is. Okay, take the hit, I suppose. They have 2 cards still in their hand. Or sorry, 3 cards still in their hand, and I'm at 9 life. They play another FOMO, 2 cards in their hand. They discard a Bowmaster, 2 types in their yard. So I draw a land now. Unfortunately, I'm 1 Cauldron Familiar away from comboing, right? Yeah. Let's see if we can find a Cauldron Familiar here. Not quite that lucky. What I think I'm going to do now is hold up this Hexmage on defense here, with the intention of being able to like either sack and block with the Overlord, or block then sack. And then the Overlord is also going to give me a lot more looks at a Supplier. Why not put the Goose in front of the 1/2 Nethergoyf? I want the Goose in play to start my combo potentially. You need a creature in play sometimes. Also, doesn't seem like I won't be able to chump block with this later, probably. So I do think we should play around second Terminate if they were to attack here, but they are not to attack here. I will be attacking, however. I think I'm also fetching my basic forest before I potentially mill it, and this also gives me, of course, more looks at Cauldron Familiar. Thank you, Esther.
I charged it for you.
Appreciate that. Pyroclasm doesn't seem good against the Oculus decks. I agree with that. I'm not sure where that comes from, but for sure. I would probably be thrilled if my opponents bring again Pyroclasm just to clean up my Manifest Dread tokens. Woodland feels bad with all these black pips. Do you think we can add an Urborg over a Shock or a Tower? No. I probably cut the 8th fetch before that. Like with all the self mill, it's very tough to play less fetchables. So I actually went up a fetchable from our Friday stream because we were just milling over our fetchables too much. Urborg would be okay. I don't know. I don't know if it's like much better than just 4th Overgrown Tomb, which makes 4th Overgrown Tomb makes your stuff enter on tap 2, right? Probably better. Okay, well, we have yet only one Cauldron Familiar in the yard. My opponent is hasting something. This Endurance should buy us some time. Kind of surprised they didn't attack if they had that in their hand. They should know this is my last card, but it's been a little while. They may have forgotten. Which FOMO Delirium build did you have more success with, Jund or Gruul? Jund is better than Gruul. It's just like the Nethergoyf is better than Patchwork Beastie, and that's basically the entire change. I like the Jund deck too. It's been pretty strong. Opponent discards a Molten Collapse, plays a Bloodstained Mire, cracks the Bloodstained Mire. So they have Delirium, but if you remove Delirium in response to the triggers, they don't get their extra combat phase. I can maybe Endurance in response to this, because if they hit a... I was going to say, if they hit the Tectus Phoenix, it's quite bad for me. And I guess, I guess that gets me. It's not the end of the world, though. Thoughts on control archetypes in current meta? I think Jeskai with Leyline Binding is, like, criminally underplayed, probably. I think that you need to play Binding so you can get rid of... it's like, so good against Through the Breach, and it's so good against... it answers Ring out of Boros, which is a pretty big deal. Maybe the matchup is just still not very good for you now that Boros is playing a bunch of Rings, which is, I think, the primary cause in Jeskai's drop off. But I would still probably play it because we could let them go to their beginning of combat step. They maybe have forgotten about the Endurance, and they also maybe don't understand how FOMO against Endurance works. Have I seen the 4 main deck Orm's Chant version of Jeskai? No, but that sounds very... My opponent says last card Endurance, right? GG's. Maybe I mistracked. I thought it was double. Do I like the Null-Drifter build? Null-Drifter build's okay. I think. I don't have strong feelings about it. It seems to be doing well, like percentage-wise. I think for main deck Orm's Chant, I don't really understand. This is something I am too dumb to comprehend why someone would do that to themselves. The 4 Spreading Seas build of Merfolk. I have no comment on Merfolk. I actively want my suppliers to die, so I think we just block like this. Oh, I put myself dead to bolt. Sorry, I guess we should have attacked with the goose too. Now we are we haven't found a second goose yet. Or sorry, a second familiar yet. There we go. All right, tune up. I'm gonna keep this. With like all the self-mill, these victimizes are pretty promising, and we have Hexmage plus Overlord, although we don't have second black source yet. We do mill a Ygra for our Victimize, which is nice. Rumbling plus Unstable Amulet plus Escape the Breach feels good. That does sound like it feels good. We played a little bit of decks like that. One nice thing is Rumble or Spell Snare doesn't get Overlord, which is there was a game where we like played around it and it like they did have the snare and it was really nice. I think that might be what's happening here. What was allowing us to sacrifice user counting board? Ygra, that's the deck. It turns your Cauldron Familiars into foods. That's the combo. I have not milled another creature, and I don't want to put Ygra into my hand here with my Woodland and double Victimize, so not exactly ideal, I suppose. I really wanted to put another creature in the yard for us to be able to have Victimize online if my opponent tapped out for Frog. Looks like they're probably playing the Unearth build. Although I don't remember Edgar playing a Subtlety. Might have been playing a Subtlety. They also might have just added it, right? Yeah, neither Spell Spear nor Spell Snare get it, which is, definitely, relevant upside. Draw another green source, which is very funny. The mana, I was thinking about playing the 24th land. It feels a little bit weird with 4 Gilded Goose. Could maybe just play the 24th over the 4th Goose. That could be okay. They're gonna ping my supplier. They ping me. Kind of getting a missed land drop vibe here. Oh, I guess the vibes are off. They found a frog. They're holding up Bowmaster plus Counterspell last turn. Draws have been kind of unimaginably bad here. I think I'm just going to concede against like Frog with my draw just being kind of non-functional, unfortunately. Not very nice. Now, I like that Decay kills both Frog and Hearse, which is going to be their primary source of graveyard hate. Also kills Oculus if they are there, and they're probably on like Edgar's Oculus build. We'd also play Endurance because Endurance is good against Unearth, but I don't know if that's like exactly the game plan we're playing. I do think that these 3 mana sorceries are pretty bad against the counter magic. Buried Alive is kind of nice with Woodland. I think I'm going to play just 2 Buried Alive, and I'm going to play the first Endurance, and then just play 1, and then maybe we really like it and we draw more. Yeah, it feels. I love like feeling like it's right to register Decay in a deck. It's just really nice that it gets rid of all of your opponent's like hate cards besides Leyline, and you have these for Leyline. People actually playing Oculus. Yeah, it won a paper tournament in the hands of Edgar. I can never remember Edgar's last name, but I like Edgar a lot. He's really, really bright, good player, good deck builder, good guy. All right, let's keep this one. It's Miguel Hayes. Yeah, his handle is Edgar MTG. His last name is MTG. Miguel Hayes. I know he's Canadian. I think I'm surveilling here instead of playing the Hexmage out. Let's keep this Decay. We can go 2-drop plus surveil next turn. All right, so they didn't. I'm okay if they Bowmaster, I think. Yeah. So I'd rather them do this than kill my Hexmage. And I don't really care so much about either of these cards dying. They probably won't block the Supplier unless they have Graveyard Hate in their hand. It does have Graveyard Hate. Now, if we can resolve a Ygra by top decking Phyrexian Tower, that could be really nice because it just doesn't die to Fatal Push. It'll be very hard for them to beat. I'm not going to keep Buried Alive against this Nile Spellbomb. I am going to get this going, though. Maybe my opponent will subtlety me. No, they just cracked the Spellbomb with no card draw. It's about as good as it was going to get. What the funniest thing would be is like someone evoking subtlety. Oh, sorry, subtlety would work. Never mind. Subtlety does work. Let's take a supplier and just leave the extra familiar in the yard. Hexmage is for Overlord. You're about to see what it does. Potentially. Maga Illa. I don't think that was right. I also have a very hard to pronounce name. I know the pain. Yeah, so it's a creature on the stack. It's an enchantment creature on the stack. Okay, I'm just gonna block. I don't want to try to block with Overlord here and then let them just fly the frog. Nice, we can get them to discard a Sink into the Stupor, which is pretty good against my Overlord. I will say I don't care about pronouncing magic cards. I do care about making an effort to pronounce fellow people's names. You know, notably, if my opponent had an Oculus in their hand this game or last game, it would have been uncastable. I guess they could fetch, surveil, discard a card. But I do wonder how often Oculuses are just stranded in hand. Maybe not that often. I'm getting with everything, I think. No, we should leave it. We should leave the suppliers back. Yeah, just make their attacks awkward. And I think I'm just gonna cast Familiar, so I could just hold up either 2-drop here. Probably will decay the frog instead of casting Salvage though. I feel like they would have pitched it there if they had one stranded. That's true. They would have discarded it over the Sink, I think. Yeah, Hexmage does kind of beat Frog in combat, huh? Because you go... Well, I guess not exact. Yeah, you get 2 damage on it. First strike. They discard a card, then you sack and kill. Okay. I think some people will miss that. Of course, I could just fly over it, though. Another use for the Hexmage. They're Brain Surgeon. Well, my Decay can't be countered, so I can just chill. I don't know if this is Edgar's list. Malabru with the 27. Thank you so much. While my opponent resolves this brain surge, let's take a look at Edgar's list again. Big congrats. One, the face-to-face opens with this list. So we saw Thought Scour, which made me think that they were playing this build, but we saw Subtlety, which Edgar was not playing any of, which I think seems correct to me. Okay, Shoot the Sheriff, I can't imagine is correct over Go for the Throat. Victim of Night. It just like it misses Ragavan, Thothi Voidwalker. Voidwalker is not that relevant, but like I think there's like 2 other big ones. I also like Go for the Throat would probably be better. Not gonna nitpick the Doomblades too much though. I agree not to play Murderous Cut with all these Oculuses and frogs. This looks pretty clean though. Shoot misses Sign of Dracos. Yeah, go for the Mrs. Scion, or do they both miss Scion? What deck plays Ragavan currently? The most popular deck in Modern, Boros Energy. It's not that it's like good in that deck, but they do play it. Yeah, maybe it's okay that you miss Voidwalker and Ragavan. So you have Bowmasters too for Ragavan. Yeah, Shoot does hit Scion. I might be down for Victim of Night. Probably not that down. Looking at Goldfish, they don't play it often at all. More Boros plays Ragavan more often than doesn't. I don't really care so much what like the top like 3 MTG Goldfish lists do. Like this has been a trend for the entirety of its lifespan. I don't play Ragavan and Boros, but more people play Ragavan than don't. I think this is just true, right? I don't think it's like topic for conversation. Maybe I'm missing something. Okay, untapped sync. Yeah, I do think it's very funny that the Boros gamers are all like, yeah, it helps with a Johnny. There's basically you basically never hear, yeah, Ragavan is really good at the deck. It's always, it helps maximize the Ajani ultimate, which I always think is very funny. So they're playing Murktide, unfortunately. I wish they were on Oculus instead. Although, maybe I can get, I can get back a Hexmage with my Overlord. But then they probably have a counterspell up. Yeah, I know it's a red permanent, but I'm just saying I think it's funny that the argument for Ragavan, and I agree that it's the correct argument. It's another red permanent for Ajani. I agree that that's the main reason to play Ragavan. But I just think it's funny we've gone from Ragavan being the most complained about card on Twitter to it's a red permanent for Ajani. That's all I'm trying to say. So let me salvage first. They might counterspell this. And I think that this might work out in my favor too, despite it being face up. Ooh, a Malevolent Familiar, nice. So now we can combo if we draw a land. Hopefully their last card is not another spell snare. I don't know. I don't know how if they're seeing this or not. Maybe they see it and they just realize the Hexmage is going to shrink this too much and they just want to make this trade. But we're in a good spot. They have 2 cards in their hand. We're ahead on board. We're in a spot where if we draw a land, we're winning the game. We have 2 Ygras. Feeling fine. Do you want the URL for your tracker to track both of accounts? I do, Magical, yeah. I know there's a way to do it. If you let me know, I'll paste it. Okay. End of turn subtlety. I guess we're happy they're not subtletying a Ygra. Alright, that broke it. Also, shout out to the suggestion of cutting an Overgrown Tomb. Yeah, this is one of those works in theories. Bug though. Hold on, let me. After someone writing that Ragavan's back card overall, I think I heard it all. I mean, yeah, it's wild, but I think it is also just kind of true. Maybe should have attacked here also. The Termis, thank you for the 17 months overlay. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna paste this and then figure it out later. Then I gotta resize it again. Oh, I forgot that it like looks like this when you first power it up. It's so cool. Shadow Dan. Usually have it like cropped. Maybe I'll keep it like this for a bit. Is this it looks like a Murktide Regent, right? If it's Murktide, we're gonna win. Yeah, it's okay, Magical. It's fine. Is there concern for Goryo's? I think Victimize is better than Goryo's. I haven't tested Goryo's yet. Goryo's could be good. What I don't like about Goryo's, though, is it's like, this is only a card that is good if you're comboing. And it is good if you're comboing. But I like that Victimize can just get back Overlord. I like that Victimize can get back Ygra. And then it's just in play. And then eventually you can find your cats. It's like something you can proactively play on turn 3 instead of just like, this card only does anything if I'm comboing. Okay, I don't know what all this posturing was about, but I'm going to cast a Ygra, I guess. I don't know what they could be trying to do main phase that would disrupt my Ygra. Archmage's Charm, I guess. Maybe I should have been able to sniff that out. Seems like my opponent is thinking about making me draw 2 to trigger Bowmasters? I don't know. Maybe they're thinking they need to draw 2 and counter and then like have the card advantage. Is there an Asmo Ygra-less Lagorios? Not one I can paste in the chat right now. I thought it was Brain Surge. I mean, Brain Surge surely would have entered the stack already. But I don't really know why they would wait on Brain Surge. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, my opponent has disconnected. I'll still be right back.
What's up? It's me, your friend Aspiring Spike. What's up? It's me, your friend Aspiring Spike. What's up? It's me, your friend Aspiring Spike.
Okay, my Ygra has been countered. I'm going to attack. I didn't board up my Bloodghast, did I? Yeah, still in there, so I'm going to save my fetch land for that, and then pass the turn. Shifting Woodland is the best top deck by a lot. It wins even through a counterspell. Gilded Goose is kind of a weirdly good top deck with these Cauldron Familiars, though. All right, let's see if they top deck 3 counterspells in a row, or they went counterspell as their last card, charm as their last card, and now top deck snare. I'm going to pass back. Do you think I still have a forest in the deck? Not attacking to find gas? No, I don't think so. I don't know that finding gas doesn't exactly accomplish a lot on this board. My opponent's found a Cling to Dust off their Thought Scour, which is kind of a nightmare. Yeah, they countered Ygra with Charm. Opponent's top decks have been very good. Oh, I guess my force is in exile somehow. I don't know how. Oh, the spell bomb earlier. Okay, well, a little bit of a mistake there. My draws have not been as good as my opponent's. How many woodlands do I still have in the deck? I still have all 4 Shifting Woodlands. So I have a 20% chance of drawing one on each draw step with the ability to double activate. So that's good news. So they exile one of my 3 copies of Cauldron Familiar instead of one of my 2 copies of Ygra. And they go up to 8 life points. They play a Darkslick Shores. Maybe Woodland kind of does the same thing as Goryo's. Exactly. I think that's my thought too. Okay, my opponent is at 1 card in hand. I'm at 12 life points. I draw an Overlord. Seems like I should just impeding this though, so I can, if my opponent doesn't have a counter spell, I can just get Ygra and win the game. You need 2 cats to combo. Yes, and I do have 2 cats. Although my opponent has like a second Cling to Dust up. And I actually only have, I don't have any more cats in my deck, so yeah, maybe I should just cast this. I can still get like Hexmage though. They do go ahead and just let this resolve. I'm gonna grab Ygra. I'm going to attack for 2 and then play Ygra second main phase off of the tower. I think if my opponent had a counterspell, they should have countered this. I don't know how much that's worth. Yeah, they're gonna cling one of my Cauldron Familiars here, I would assume. And then I think this Ygra is going to resolve, and then I think the Ygra is going to be pretty tough for them to deal with. That being said, they've tapped 5 mana now, so I don't really know what's going on anymore. We only have 1 Bloodghast in the deck as a buried alive target. So they do cling a Cauldron Familiar. think I'm just going to go ahead and bring this back. And then see if we mill our Bloodghast. We have a 25% chance of doing so. I failed to do so. Okay, so my opponent is at 8, and Ygra is going to be very hard for them to kill. It does not die to Fatal Push, and if they target it with, even if they target it with like a bounce spell, sink into the Stupor, it does cost them to sacrifice a creature that's in play. So, like, they kind of have to have something right now, otherwise they have to chump block with Subtlety, and then they're going to lose, and yeah, they do just lose. Hard fought. Opponent's got like 7 minutes, 7 minutes 50 going into game 3. Yeah, let me just, I think I'm just going to play only Endurances. These 3-mana sorceries are just pretty tough against the counter spells and Nile Spell Bombs. Seems okay. Shoot the Sheriff moment. Does Shoot the Sheriff miss Ygra? Or, I don't think it does. Maybe Shoot the Sheriff is right. Why did we play land there? Didn't we need it for Ghast? Yeah, I even thought I had Helplet for the Ghast. Dude, Overlord has been so good. It's like it is definitely exceeded expectations. Like, not only like the plan with Hexmage is pretty good, it's good to reanimate. I think it will be good to flicker with Felia. I'm going to work on that tonight. It also just is like nice top deck. It doesn't get spell snared, it doesn't get spell pierced. It's kind of like, I don't know. I'm feeling it. Can we talk about the Save Stain package over Overlord's Hexmage? Is a choice because I'm testing it. Could you just play both? I think Overlord is just kind of simply better. So like as far as like the Say Its Name package goes, at the moment, I recommend not including Say Its Name in decks that don't beat down well. This is not a deck that beats down very well. You're not able to leverage the 9/9 very well. Also, you don't want to play Say Its Name in a deck like this that has no access to removal for Orcish Bowmaster. If you're playing a deck like Jund Delirium with Say Its Name and your opponent Bowmasters your all in attack, you could just Tarfire or Wild Slash the Bowmaster and be fine. This deck, if you put Altanek in play, your opponent Bowmasters, you lose the game. Not exactly a winning formula. I do think I'm going to go Overlord this turn just because of Snare and Pierce being dodged. I want to get Swamp for Harbinger, potentially. If they counter, they counter. And then Overlord's also an enchantment for Delirium. It's like a nice plan B. It's more castable in this deck because we have Goose and Phyrexian Tower. I think there's a lot to like about Overlord over other stuff. Also, like, Hexmage, like, the utility has been surprisingly nice. Get to do some extra stuff with that card. Alright, I think I'm going to go play Phyrexian Tower, cast a Rumble, and then probably salvage on their turn. Opinions on the best build of Goryo's. Wasn't loving Tommy when I tried it. I don't know, I haven't played it in a while. I would probably play Binding. Binding is just a card that I'm really high on at the moment, I guess. I think I need to take this Woodland over the Overlord. We do have Delirium, and like with this Grisly Salvage, with our hand being Grisly Salvage and Rumble, like Woodland is just like so important to beat up a handful of counter spells. Do you lose or do you draw? Not you lose. The triggers go on the stack before the damage resolves, so you draw your deck before a single damage is actually dealt to Ultanuk. Targeting me instead of the spawn, probably not correct. Fruitcake, 27 months. Spike Spiegel with the Twitch Prime, appreciate ya. Thanks for that. Tiles Tracker with the 39. Does it really matter which one I block? I guess blocking here is better because it forces the ping to go here, so it's 2 damage versus block like this, 2 damage. Okay, just playing around other Bowmaster, but is the same either way. Not going to play around it, though. Fruitcake with a 27. Spike Seagull, Twitch Prime, Tiles Tracker, 39. Thank y'all. Alright, so we're going to make a green. Salvage. 4 cards in their hand here. Let's take Endurance. Doesn't seem like they're that interested in fighting over these kind of effects at the moment. I think I want a Hexmage and Endurance this turn. If they push the Hexmage, I can kill the Orc army, which is kind of fun. Dabbins with 32 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Clean to dust my Grisly Salvage. So I guess playing around Subtlety or Archmage's Charm is correct over upkeeping to tap them out of Counterspell. Consign? Okay, I guess we'll take the 2-for-1. Don't love that they still have Endurance, of course. What do you think of Dimir Frogs replacing Murktide with Oculus? I mean, I think that there's a very good chance that those builds are much better against Boros Energy. At the very least, that's what it looks like to me. That those builds are going to be much better against Boros Energy. And if that's the case, that's kind of all you need for that build to be better, because that's like that's the problem with Dimir Frog, is like you're pretty good against the field besides Boros. But just like I think a 5/5 Oculus that puts a bunch of that you get to Manifest Dread a ton, Unearth it a lot. It seems like a better strategy in that matchup than playing Murktide. And so if that's the case, that's the case. Okay, 6/6 Murktide Regent, 2 cards in their hand. I top deck a Ygra, which I think I'm just gonna slam. They didn't counterspell my Endurance, and I think they probably would have over Consign. Maybe they wouldn't have. Maybe they just want to Consign. But also we have the Woodland to copy this. Just seems good to do, and this is very, very tough for them to kill. I don't have any Cauldron Familiars, but I think that's okay. Probably will chump block with Gilded Goose. Comes an 8/8. Isn't Frog also bad against Eldrazi? I think it depends on your build, but yeah, maybe it's not that good against Eldrazi. Good morning. I found you stream last week. Do you stream only on Mondays? No, I stream every single weekday. Every single weekday. Starting 9 a.m. CST to at least 1, sometimes later. I do not do coaching though. There are other people that offer it. Yeah, but that's not something I offer. Okay, I'm just going to grab the Supplier. And then I think we need to... copy Overlord and attack. I do like that they were winning a lot of these like grindy beatdown games too. You know, there are other people that offer coaching services. Mason Clark is someone who comes to mind for Modern. But I'll say I think the best way to learn is honestly to just like watch and try to digest as much as you can. So I get my attack trigger here, which is nice. I mill a Cauldron Familiar, which is also very nice. I think I'm going to grab Gilded Goose. And then here, if they chump block, it's just so over, because now, like, with the ward, like, they have to sack their Murktide. Oh, unless they're doing something here. Oh, they're sacking the Bowmaster for 3 life, right? Okay, opponent's down to 13. Things are looking great here. I can block and then sack for the Cauldron Familiar too. Is this Harbinger? Probably just a draw spell. This deck has a bit... I put it in the title parentheses. Shockingly good. I don't think that most people would expect Ygra combo to just be very viable and modern, but like you're a great Phyrexian Tower deck. You're a great Woodland deck. You're very hard to interact with. You have lots of good plan Bs with Overlord and Ygra. Your combo is pretty strong. There's just like so much to like, I feel. My Ygra is a 14/14. War to sacrifice a Murktide. I know, it's like these 5-mana creatures I basically never consider, but it's been working. All right, so we're gonna go. So we're looking for another familiar. I'm gonna go Supplier, sack Supplier to Tower, then Surveil, just 7 looks at a second familiar for the combo. Although we've already found one. So now I guess it seems like it makes more sense for me to leave my creature in play to restart the loop, but we might as well just copy Overlord and attack for lethal. I guess I'm already attacking for lethal. But now we just have the combo, we're attacking for a ton. We beat multiple pieces of interaction here. GG. Yeah, Woodland is really, really, like, I agree, the deck doesn't exist without Woodland. Yeah, I've been working on my set redo video, my tier list redo. I wanted to get it done this weekend. It's just going to take too long to get done in a weekend. But yeah, I'm also having trouble. Like, I might still put Woodland in S tier. It has just been like such an insane card. It was also like a big piece of, it was a piece of Nadu combo that I think was like a little underrated, and there's just Woodland has been just so crazy for me. Yeah, this is like the best Phyrexian Tower deck I've played by a lot. It's just like all your other Phyrexian Tower decks, they just like you have a land that taps for 2 mana, but you curve out at like 2 or 3, and so it's like a little anemic. Yeah, Woodland is also just gonna get better and better too. I agree with that, but it's just like such a key part in so many combo decks. It's like the best utility land in the format, maybe. Okay, let's get a trophy prediction going. One thing I like is that we've been losing some game ones, but we're still winning our sideboard games, which are, typically combo decks. It's the other way around. I think I'm gonna have Mulligan double tap land on the draw. I'd probably keep that one on the play though. All right, I am gonna keep turn 2 Buried Alive into possibly turn 3 Victimize. I'm gonna go ahead and put that back, the Ygra back, since I have this and I kind of need the extra land. My opponent is on a mulligan to 6 and they revealed Devour. It's about Feasting, Troll King, and a Food Delirium Shell Detectives Phoenix. No, I haven't thought about it. It's kind of interesting. AZBYD with the 3 months. Thank you. Welcome back. No, it's all Commander on MTGO. For Ygra's expensive because it's a popular Pioneer deck. I just assume we're talking about paper prices. For the most part, if something is expensive in paper, it is good in Commander. and that's there are some exceptions. Ygra plus 2 Cauldron Familiars is the combo. It's nice you can bury it alive for that. 3-0 with Ygra on a Monday. Let's go. Why is Rest in Peace so rare? Is because all the white decks are playing Flage. You don't want to nuke their own yard. Yeah. Basically, any white deck is playing Flage, or they're like Goryo's is a white deck, and they obviously don't want to play Rest in Peace. There's just like not white decks that don't want to nuke their own yard. Okay, so we have a turn 3 win. Now that we drew untapped land. Can be a little scared of Kozilek's command. Hopefully they just, play Ring on turn 3. I already answered you, Professor, but I haven't thought about it. It's kind of interesting. If they Kozilek's command the Goose, it's, way better than Kozilek's commanding after my Buried Alive. Chalice on 1. Okay, we don't really care about that, thankfully. Some draws we have would. Do wish I was on the play with my turn 3 kill. Go, the 1 ring. Please cast the ring. Professor with the 14 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Ring, 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 ring. Well, I am not going to play around Kozilek's command. For better or for worse. Worse. It was worse. Why couldn't they have just had the ring? So I'm definitely bringing in my Fulminator Mages. I don't usually like to bring in Damping Sphere against these kind of decks, but I might I think I get with our deck where Damping Sphere doesn't really hurt us that much. We can maybe bring in some copies. I think it seems like Decay is likely better than Haywire Mite if they're on Chalice. Who designed K Command? I mean, people who designed the rest of MH3. The card is very, 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 very good. That card is wild. Could just be an elaborate bluff. Not super likely, I guess. Remember people telling me they thought it was bad? People telling me they thought it was bad too. How does this deck work? So if you have a Ygra in play and 2 Cauldron Familiars, you can sack 1 Cauldron Familiar to return the other one, draining for infinite at instant speed with a lot of resiliency to creature removal. You have a lot of ways to set it up. That being said, we're being, a little bit disrupted here. It takes about 2 minutes to resolve this Kozilek's command. They do leave me with my Gilded Goose, which is something. We're hoping to top deck another Buried Alive and get there. My opponent is also scrying 3 and drawing a card, though. Perhaps if we were on the play, they go turn 2 Chalice in 1, and then we untap and win. You could also have maybe a main deck Graveyard Hate Off Saga, but I don't think that's very common. They did put 2 cards on the top with the command. They imprint a Devourer, and then they pass the turn. I don't draw an Enabler. So I can't return the Ygra this turn, because I need 2 creatures in the yard for the Victimize. But we can entomb the Supplier, basically, by casting it, and then we can theoretically Victimize, then mill our other 2 Suppliers off of our Supplier returning. Or sorry, other 2 Familiars off of Supplier returning. Not very likely, and we're probably going to go to game 2 soon. We'll play it out. Is K Command worth trying to play outside of Eldrazi decks? I've tried to build like Wilderness Reclamation decks with Kozilek's Command. And I don't know, I might still be able to figure that out. The thing is, it's like, you really need more big imprintables, but the idea of like turn 3 Wilderness Reclamation off of Ugin's Labyrinth, and then like untap Kozilek's Command, and then like chaining Kozilek's commands together, that sound kind of nice. It does sound kind of nice, right? So they're making a food token, discarding a map of a 6/6. Is Saga common in these Eldrazi decks? So Urza Saga means that they have Emrakul, the new one, whatever the new Emrakul is called. They have that card in their deck if they play Cookbook. Alright, so Chalice 1 is still in play. Not the highest chance we combo off here. We have to mill our last 2 Suppliers. Or sorry, last 2 Familiars. We did not. So we sack this, go to 14, and then we're dead to them tapping the Cookbook. So let's go ahead and just go to game 2. Alright, up a game, Fulminator, and then I think I'm going to play 2 Damping Spheres. Let's go ahead and cut the 3 mana source. These are better game 1 in theory, although maybe there's just too much main deck Graveyard Hate. And I'm going to cut the Bloodghast because it's mostly a Buried Alive target, and then I want to play 3 Abrupt Decays, and we can just trim a Gilded Goose probably. Try this. Are the new Tainted Duels playable modern? They're playable. You have to be primarily one color splashing another. In a deck like this that's playing Shifting Woodland, you just want to play Forest, so it wouldn't be playable in this deck. The only deck I can think of is like Necro splashing for like Psychic Frog, or Necro splashing for like a color. I think could want it over some other cards, but it'll be pretty rare that you want those. It's also like, the thing is too, with the printing of Surveil lands, it's really, really tough for like anything to be better than a fetch land. It happens sometimes that you want to play a less painful mana base. It happens sometimes you don't want to play fetch lands if you're playing, cards that hurt fetch lands in general. But like, Fetch lands are they are just now color fixers that also are utility lands now. So good. Can you sack Supplier there? Do you have to tap Sacrifice? You have to tap the Sacrifice of the food, so could not sack the Supplier to itself. I don't mind Mite versus them at all. Well, the thing is, the problem I have with Mite is it gets countered by Chalice. So that's why I'd prefer to be in on Abrupt Decay versus them. Yeah, maybe Blood Sun. Some spots. Yeah, I guess Hexmage does also answer Chalice. We learning that like Hexmage beats Frog in combat or trades for Frog makes me like the card more too. Supplier doesn't have haste either way. Well, yeah, I guess you would. I mean, if you didn't have to tap to sack it, like if it was like a clue token, just 2 mana sack, it would work. It's just kind of weird that you have to tap spoons to sack them. They got printed after clues, and the clues don't have to tap. Maybe there were problems with the clue tokens. Okay, let's be on the play for game 2. A lot to like about this hand. Having Tower and Woodland and Supplier and Rumble is really nice. It is a 5-lander, but I'm going to go ahead and click the keep button. My opponent is still thinking on their 7. Did I consider Scavenger's Talent building this deck? Well, we built the deck together, or the first draft together on stream Friday. It was a card that people brought up because it's in the Pioneer build. I've read it a few times, and it seems completely unplayable in Modern. So slow. I really, at the moment, do not like the idea of registering that card. Could there be something I'm missing? Because people keep suggesting it, maybe, but it seems so slow and poorly positioned in this very fast Modern format. All right, not the best hits, I'll say. Next turn, I could Woodland, copy Fulminator. Card is better than it seems, but it's still probably not good enough. I mean, I'm having a hard time envisioning a play pattern or a matchup where it's like fast enough to get off. It's just the best card in the Pioneer deck. I think it's better because you use Oven there. Yeah, that's probably why. I mean, like, let's read the card again together. 1 mana. Whenever one or more creatures you control dies, create a food token. This ability triggers only once each turn. It's not the worst, but it's like certainly not worth a card. Kind of just weak overall. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. I think I just slammed the Overlord with the intention of looping Fulminator Mage with it going forward. Chapter 2. Whenever you sack a permanent, target player mills 2 cards. This is also not very good. You get to use your fetch lands to dig for Familiar, but for 3 mana, this is not worth it. Like, we've spent 3 mana for, like, not a good enough effect. And you have to spend 3 more. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice 3 other non-land permanents. If you do, return a creature from the graveyard with the finality counter. Also seems just not worth it. So I'm not into it. Just not for this format. Okay, let's hope they don't have Tron. Try playing with it because I thought the same thing after playing the card is nuts. In Modern, you tried playing it and it was nuts. I just doubt so severely. You know. But I just there's only so many things we could try, and I have a hard time. I have a hard time with that one. Lots of Witherbloom command. It just doesn't return creatures. You can't play a card that doesn't return creatures, I think. Like, if your argument is that it was nuts in Pioneer is just a very different format. And we don't have Cat Oven. Yeah, it's just like sacrificing 3 permanents also doesn't even seem like super feasible. Okay. 4 mana after they Karn. All in attack package was considered. It's incorrect in this deck with no removal for Bowmaster. And also can't really utilize the beatdown plan as well as other decks. Or Overlord is better in this deck. So they grab a Tormod script, which is fine. Oh, but then they Stonebrain my Fulminator Mages. Less fine. Just had the natty stone brain. No, Karn doesn't stop our combo. Karn doesn't do anything against us. The suppliers, you activate the suppliers from the graveyard, and they're not artifacts in the graveyard. Karn stops your combo. I don't believe it does. I mean, it does if it gets something that stops the combo, right? If it gets like a Pithing Needle. Okay, so we draw another land off of the Stone Brain. This has just not been a very good draw. They play the Tormod's Crypt. Now I'm just going to go to combat, and then they should probably pop the Crypt now. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe just not. Okay. Let's see what we can find. Anonymous with the $5. Give me a second. I saw you playing a Vengevine Hollow One deck last week with FOMO, but I can't find the VOD or the list on Moxfield. The list is... Oh, the list got changed on Moxfield. I did have to delete the VOD for that one, unfortunately. But you can basically just take the green-red list with... I mean, I wouldn't recommend the Vengevine, but you could take the Flytrap build and cut the Flytraps and then cut... I can't remember the other flex card we were playing. Oh, you cut the DRC. Don't cut the Flytraps. You cut DRC Bobble for Brute Wall of Vengevine, but I think that's worse than just DRC Bobble at the moment. Okay, I'm gonna grab a Cauldron Familiar, I think. If I could cast Ygra this turn, I'd be a bit more likely to do that. Okay, Karn down after a long pause. Let's play Supplier and play... I guess let's see what we mill. Okay. Second Ygra. Adding a trawler or two in order to get a land over Overlord. I thought about it, but the mana base is already pretty stretched. We also have, 4 Grisly Salvage, 4 Rumble, so it's like we have a lot of other like ways to dig for lands. We have 23 lands, we have 4 Gilded Goose. I think Trawler could be nice, but I would just rather play more fetch lands in those spots if possible. If they imprint something, we lose. Yeah, I saw Matt's Broodstone combo deck. I thought it was awesome. Nice to find a use for the +1 counter Eternal Witness. I imagine Matt won a lot of games from opponents having no idea what was going on. As Matt often does. Interesting to play second Mind Stone instead of just cracking Mind Stone. I guess they have something. Unfortunate for us that they're on Mind Stones instead of Talismans. Some of these lists still play Talismans. Chalice on 1. Then second Mind Stone. So probably not the best sequencing. Protection for 7 down to 11. We can put a Ygra into our hand. I think there's a good chance my opponent is going to Tormod's Crypt the Ygra. So I think what I should do is I should shock, and then if my opponent pops the Tormod's Crypt before attackers, I can Shifting Woodland and copy either Overlord or Ygra. I guess they're just going to pop it in response to this trigger, though. I mean, maybe they won't. Okay, they do. So yeah, I think we should just copy Ygra now. Is there any way for me to like? Yeah, I can sack the Supplier, and if I find a Cauldron Familiar, we win. So yeah, we get like 7 looks at a Familiar for the win. Nice. And this is like a huge part of what's so nice about this combo. Is it's just hard to interact with. It's hard to interact with. Obviously you can interact with it, but it's just a lot more. Oh no. I can't let this Tormod's Crypt trigger resolve. It's just a lot harder to interact with than like a Soul Trader combo, I think. Yeah, or it's I'm having a hard time articulating how good Overlord has been too, but it's been really nice. I might want to play these Haywire Mites on the draw. I think Damping Sphere sometimes is worse on the draw too, because like they just have more time to set up. So maybe trim one of these, trim Third Goose, trim a Decay. So not a Decay, a Salvage. Maybe actually trim a Decay, I think, if we're bringing all the Mites. But I think on the draw, being able to like pressure their Talismans more often is kind of nice. Excuse me. It does also answer the ring. Well, there's a Haywire Mite. We also have a Boseiju, which could be good. Let's keep. Points on a multi-6. It's weird that we've lost so many game ones, but seem to be doing so well in sideboard games. You usually expect the opposite, although you probably shouldn't read so much into the sample size of one league. Eldrazi Temple, 5 cards in hand after that. Go lead on Goose. Don't want them to know that we have the Haywire Mite. We also top deck Fulminator and just cast it. Yo, Watsy took over Commander. Seems like it's probably for the best. Because if they have a Chalice, then... I mean, this is the problem with Haywire Mite. Maybe we should have played it out because of Chalice. Could be okay. Looks like I'll just go ahead and Rumble. We can maybe just play Ygra on turn 3. Okay, so we can take the Hexmage to deal with the Chalice, and the next turn go Hexmage the Chalice, and then Haywire Mite the Saga, potentially. Pizza Force with the 10 months. Great username. Welcome back. Work from home today, so we get to watch live rather than YouTube. Awesome. So I've drawn a Fulminator Mage, which is kind of interesting. I think I'm sticking to the plan. New EDH formats called on power brackets. Uh-oh. I wonder if people will start playing Modern because of all this EDH drama. Any disenfranchised EDH players in the chat? Hexmage is good with Overlord. So today, in partnership with members of the existing Rules Committee, we're announcing the Rules Committee is giving management of Commander format to the game design team of Wizards of the Coast. I think that's probably for the best. What's next? Well, this is very early. We do want to share one of the things we started working on with the Rules Committee. A more objective approach to deck power level and additional guidance shared language for players to find games matching the type of game they're trying to play. It isn't anywhere near finished yet. They really shouldn't like release this kind of stuff without it being like more finished. Probably. Here is the idea. There are 4 power brackets. Every commander deck can be placed in one of those brackets by examining the cards and combinations deck and comparing the list we'll need community help create. You can imagine bracket 1 is baseline pre-constructed deck. For example, you could imagine that bracket 1 has cards like Swords, Grave Titan, Cultivate. Yeah, sure. For example, Ancient Tomb is a bracket 4 card. I agree. Okay. I kind of like the theory. Again, you're kind of just skimming, right? But I kind of like this theory. And I think it makes sense. This is very similar to what I was saying the other day, where it's like, when I used to play a lot of Commander, and this has been a long time since now, or whatever. But when I used to play a lot of Commander, it's like we would basically always start with like dual lands, Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Grim Monolith, like all of these powerful cards. And then sometimes we would say to each other, let's play a lower power level game. And we would cut like these like 10 cards, and we would just add, lower power level fun stuff. And we would just say no fast mana, no tutors, and it was like pretty clearly defined what this was. And so I think it's kind of cool that that's what's happening. It is certainly pretty dang different from what we've experienced in the past. Now let's play some Modern. I do think I want to cut my opponent off of mana this turn. I don't want to get my Cauldron Familiar stone brained if possible. So I guess we could still got by like Ugin's Lab, but it seems kind of nice. I feel like bracket 1 and 4 are easier to find. Yeah, I agree with that too. So like, I think it's going to be a bit tougher to say between brackets 1 and 4. But I think overall I would say I feel somewhat optimistic about this plan. I think it sounds like it'll work, and this is the perspective of someone who used to play a lot of Commander a long time ago and don't really play much anymore. Smooch with the 41 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. When did Commander become sweaty? I always thought it was for casual players. So okay, so here is some. There's one thing I feel like I have if I have any unique insights on Commander, if I have anything interesting to say, it's this. Commander players conflate power level with competitiveness in a way that I think is very unhealthy for I think it's in a way that's very unhealthy for the existence of their format. Commander players have this attitude that if your deck is higher power level, it's sweaty, it's more competitive, it is more. This is what competitive is like, higher power level. As someone who plays competitive formats full time, as someone who is a very competitive focused Magic player, I disagree very much with this attitude. High power formats like Cube is a great example of a casual high powered format. People really like to play Sol Ring, Mana Crypt, Gaia's Cradle. They like to play all of these places. They like to play powerful cards in a casual format. Commander is a wonderful place to play casual cards in a powerful format and have high variance and have really cool swingy things. A competitive format is a format that has a balanced, curated ban lists where power levels are more flat. So people always say, if you want to play Mana Crypt, Sol Ring, Demonic Tutor, go play CEDH. If CEDH became a real format, these cards would be banned. You would ban, I think, the fast mana and the tutors in a real, serious, competitive EDH format. And so people want to play their high power level cards casually. This is a huge appeal of Commander, is getting to play iconic high power level cards in a casual environment. And that is my take that I feel is nuanced, and I feel like I don't hear people say. And maybe I'm out of touch. I don't know, but that is my take. I played Commander 10 years ago, where I had a very high power level Orloro deck with Mana Crypt, Mana Drain, Mana Vault. I was really in on Academy Rectoring out my Omniscience. That was like a huge part of that deck's gameplay, and I would tutor it up. It was very high power level. Then I had a Sophie Eric Starter kind of mid power level combo deck. Didn't have Mana Crypt. It was just kind of green white, a lot of land based ramp, and then I had just a pre-con deck too. And so I think that this is awesome. I think this is it makes me, as someone who doesn't play a lot of Commander, more excited about Commander as a format. All right, Wooded Foothills Blood Crypt. It also seems like Mana Crypt is getting unbanned. like for sure, Mana Crypt is getting unbanned, by the way. So that feels very bad for the gamers who sold. And then, although I guess who was selling their Mana Crypts for pennies on the dollar, like immediately? I'm sure. I guess someone, right? But I think most people didn't just immediately sell. Don't you think it's an issue that Sol Ring is a bracket for power level card, but it's included in every single bracket 1 deck? Listen, I didn't. No, I don't. I think that Sol Ring is explicitly a bracket 1 card. It is incredibly powerful, goes in every deck. You can still play. You can maybe home rule that you still get to play your Sol Rings in your other decks, but I don't know where the attitude, I know they just keep printing it forever and ever and ever and ever, and they printed Sol Ring a million times. That doesn't mean it's not on power level with the other Power 9, better than Power 9 in a lot of these decks too. Let's just be honest. It is it is that good. Or just kind of muddying the water. It is a Power 9 level card. think bracket one is the weakest. Yeah, whichever the bracket. I don't know how the brackets are, I guess, but just because it's been printed a lot doesn't mean it's not. And I think it makes like and when I used to play a lot of Commander, we would take our Soul Rings out of our decks when we wanted to play lower power level games. This is the same system. Where was it announced that Mana Crypt is getting unbanned? It's not announced, but you have to read between the lines. Wizards is taking control of the Commander format because they messed up the bans so much, or like it was such a poorly received bans, and they're making a more higher power level bracket. You have to read between the lines a little bit and understand that that means that Mana Crypt is like definitely getting unbanned. I think here I'm actually going to go sack this for black. Play Stitcher Supplier. Oh, sorry. Why did I think I could do this and cast 2 of these? I guess it's okay. I milled over a Ygra, which is awesome. I need to find another Cauldron Familiar. So we find a land for next turn. Bloodghast in the yard is something. Play one of these. So we can start off next turn by sacking the Supplier, looking for another Familiar. I think we have enough mana even to... We might not have enough green mana. No, we have enough mana to salvage and Woodland. That's what I'm saying. Every low power level precon helps Soul Ring, which is a higher power level card. Yeah, I think we're on the same page, Skittles. I don't know. I mean, I didn't put them there. Neither did we. Anybody else? Spell Skills, 46 months. Appreciate you. Anybody else here? Probably a good matchup. I saw more people online upset about Lotus than Crypt. Yeah, Lotus too. I will also, I think, be unbanned. Both these cards are... Dockside maybe is coming back. I don't know if people hate Dockside. I think it was kind of silly they banned Dockside and not Oracle too. Spell Skittles, 46 months. Clickbait on man. Yeah, I need to put in all caps. Commander reacts. Such a bad streamer. I'm like 4-0 with Ygra combo and a good matchup, and I can't... I'm just yapping about Commander. I think it's fun, though, to some extent. Okay, taking 5 down to 5. My opponent has 1 card in their hand. They decided to not bestow to Texas Phoenix, so they're probably casting a FOMO. A Bowmaster. Targeting my spawn. So that might... Does that mean... So I have... Yeah, that makes me where I don't have enough mana to Woodlands and Salvage, right? So let's just draw... We draw a Ygra for turn. Bring back our Bloodghast. I'm going to go and just sacrifice my Supplier. We did not mill another Cauldron Familiar yet. Now, I guess my priority now is surviving until next turn. So I think I'm just going to go Salvage. We find the Familiars for next turn. Now I'm a green mana short of being able to combo, or a mana short because I lost my token. But now I can go Gilded Goose, sack of food with a flying blocker for next turn. Should be surviving. I guess. Oh, I have double green because I can just tap the Woodland for green. Okay, your turn. I guess I also can theoretically sack a food to get a Familiar back if they can Xyz me. Could a deck that wants multiple 1-drops for combo use March of Burgeoning Life? I think March is just not a very good enabler overall, but you could. Like, I'm not going to say, no, you could never do that. I don't want to hear about Commander bans anymore. Totally relevant. Chat, I need to grow the stream. There are new Commander players. Commander players are angry. They're going to the Magic category on Twitch. They're clicking on the top Magic link. They're coming in here. They're asking questions. We need to grow the stream, chat. This is our only time to do outreach to Commander players. I have to talk to them. We need new followers so desperately. Play along. Pretend that you care. Talk about your Commander decks. One in chat if you're a disenfranchised Commander player, or you came in here to to talk about the bans. Maybe we don't need to grow the stream. Maybe you don't need to grow the stream. I got a wife to take care of. I got 2 dogs. All right, let's combo kill with Ygra here. Listen, modern players, look, I've just built you a new combo deck. It's very exciting. We're 5-0 in our first league. Let me pander to the commander players a little bit. Incredible Gator, 27 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. All right, let's go. Up a game against Hollow One. Yeah, this deck is really sick. For once, shockingly good. Not clickbait, also. Okay, so Hollow One is usually playing Surgical as their graveyard hate of choice. It's kind of nice that Endurance can like negate a Surgical on your own stuff in a desperate situation, but it's also just kind of good against them. I will say I've boarded all my 3-mana sorceries out every single game, and it's felt kind of good. I've liked them in game ones, but maybe it's just like I wonder if we could also just cut them all completely. Decay is kind of anemic though. It kills a Channeler, it kills a Nethergoyf, it kills a FOMO. They might have Dothy Voidwalker too. I've seen some people playing it. Patrick with the 2 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. What notably deck-specific cards is Chalice of the Void play for? It's very good against Boros, very good against the field overall. We haven't played against Energy today. We did play against it on Friday with our first draft, and the matchup seemed pretty good. Like, kind of unlike Soul Trader combo, which is pretty bad against Energy because it's very easy for them to put pressure on you and hold up a removal spell. Their removal spells just aren't very live against us, and we're pretty good at like chump blocking and buying time to assemble the combo too. So the matchup seemed pretty good the other day. $23 lands with my luck. I'd be flooding with that amount. To be honest, I'm closer to wanting to play 24. It's like we have 8 5-drops in our deck. Although you're not exactly trying to spend 5 mana on them. You just really need to hit your land drops. No Hollow One, no Hollow One. No second Hollow One. Okay, probably going to game 3. I was thinking about White of the Reliquary. I think we have to keep this and pivot to the combo because they're just too fast now. I was thinking about White of the Reliquary. I think maybe we could pivot back to it and like play it over the 3-drops. I do like White of the Reliquary, and we have a lot of the good enablers here, and I think we probably need to main deck up a Juka Bog. So we'd probably be up to 24 lands. I think if we were going to do that, we would cut these 6 cards for 4 whites, extra land, and 3rd Hexmage probably, which might just be fine. We have 12 like cheap enablers. Yeah, no Gingerbread Cabin. We don't have enough forests. Why are we in Victimize instead of Goryo's? Hold on, give me a second. Can be tough to answer the same questions over and over, so just bear with me, but I will get to these all again. So I think the Gilded Goose can buy me a turn, because it can also return Cauldron Familiar. I think I should probably Overlord, digging for Ygra, for me to power out with this Phyrexian Tower. Instead, I find a Hexmage that can, in theory, turn my Overlord into a 5/5 to block the Hollow Ones. I don't know if in practice that'll be enough. But yeah, Victimize is just more proactive. It lets you put Ygra into play on turn 3 even without the combo. It lets you put Overlord and something else into play on turn 3 without the combo. Goryo's is only good when you have the combo, which I don't like about it so much. So I put in Graveyards a Detective's Phoenix without enough cards in the yard to bestow. I am going to certainly be Endurancing to shrink the Channeler. I'm also going to bring back a Gilded Goose. Sorry, not a Gilded Goose. I keep mixing up Goose and Familiar today for some reason. Played a lot of these cards. So we're going to bring this back, and it seems like I still just need to chump block both Hollow Ones, probably. They have Bowmasters. Bowmaster. Okay, so I'm going to go block here, take 7, go to 1, which is notably not 0, but I don't think we really have outs to combo anymore. Or survive, we'll see. Is white better than Modern Stable Feed Artisan? Yes, it's much better. Especially in this deck where you just like ramp into your big stuff. Okay, so going to 1 life point. I don't know what outs we have, if any. Maybe Goose? Okay. Okay, so we can play Goose, bring back Cauldron Familiar. Yeah, just not enough blockers. I guess I could go sack this, sack food token, play Hexmage. Yeah, we're just gonna go to game 3. All right, game 3 on the play should be nicer. Definitely want the trophy. Hoping we trophy. These decays didn't look so good. I think I'm gonna play. Let's try Victimize over the decays on the play. Why did the Reliquary plus main deck Endurance? And I mean, Endurance is good. I think Endurance is like a Lotus Petal Tower isn't that big a deal, honestly, but we'll see. Yeah, it's still the first league. Very long first league. No, this isn't a good Birthing Ritual deck. The stuff you're ritualing into is just too high mana value. I've played a lot of Fiend Artisan, mostly in Tyvar decks. I think that card is pretty bad. High Victimize shouldn't resolve against blue decks as Buried Alive probably. Is this a question? What are you asking me a question? Okay, let's Overlord here. I might also play out the Familiar to chump with potentially. Now I'll play the Supplier to jump with probably. Any young Dingo clubs on the Event Horizon? I need to ask him if he's going to Vegas. I was trying to convince him to go. I don't know if he is. I do need to check in. Should we get those cards out for the sideboard? I mean, if we should get those out for the sideboard. I still don't know what you're asking. I'm sorry, I'm just confused. Okay, let's take 2. We have Ox of Agonis, not the most stock, but looking pretty good here. Now I think do I want to attack? I don't know. I think I probably want to play defense for turn. What do you think about Ruby matchup? I mean, just like any combo deck that like is slow. Any combo deck is gonna have a bad Ruby matchup because they're just faster than every other combo deck. We do have 4 damping spheres in the sideboard, and so it isn't as bad as sometimes, but they're a faster combo deck. Like, so you might be saying don't play these in the sideboard because you assume therefore the counterspell matchups, but these are in our main deck, and we have boarded them out in this matchup. That might be what you're saying. Yeah, I've been trimming them against blue decks. Sure. Yeah, it seems like a non-native English speaker. I maybe am doing a poor job of this, but I am genuinely trying to understand what they're asking. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try to block here. It doesn't seem like they are probably super aware of this trick, right? Now, I do want to not lose my Overlord to a Bowmaster. I could Endurance now to play around the Lightning Bolt. I think we're just going to, like, if they have Bolt here, that's okay. A lot of times they're playing Tarfire or Wild Slash because of Ring anyways. Third land, 5 cards in hand. Plays an Orcish Bowmaster main phase, so that they have Bowmaster plus a 2 damage burn spell, I guess. How do I feel about that? I don't... Oh. Fair enough. Surveilling would be pretty nice, but I think I want to chump block the hollow one with my familiar, or maybe, I guess we'll double block probably a 4/4, and then we can start activating Goose to buy back our familiars. I'm going to main phase this because of the Ox of Agonis. You could have blocked with Hexmage, then sacked. Just a thought. I'm not trying to be mean. I don't sound mean, but I mean, I think it's fine to just try to get them because it seems like there's a good chance they're just not as familiar with this interaction. It seemed okay to, you know, play into it or whatever. I thought. Not trying to be mean. Okay, double block. Down to 11 life points. Big top deck. Big top deck indeed. Graveyard's a Blood Crypt. Maybe double blocking Whole One's better since Hexmage can kill the army token. I was worried about like Detective's Phoenix evidence to collect. Yeah, maybe. We certainly could have played differently. Is it best to endurance not to play on Phoenix? I think it's better to hold it in case they like hit a burning inquiry. I guess inquiry is actually not a good example because we would respond. So maybe it was better to do it immediately. Yeah, I think Hollow One's a good deck, and I think it got better with the with FOMO being printed. Tough one. Okay, so I'm taking 4 down to 7. I can fetch and shock and make a food token and bring back a cat. It seems probably better to just surveil. I think I'm going to bottom that. I'm looking for a Victimize more than anything else. Just have better top decks in general. Although this was not a better top deck. Didn't tower the cat. Sack the cat was the play. Could have sacrificed the cat to create food. I mean, I don't have enough green mana, chat. I would still have to fetch shock to create a food token, right? Oh, but we could have fizzled the Bowmaster. Yeah. I boarded the Victimizes back in. I have 3 of them in the deck right now. It's tough too because if we bring back the cat, we would still have Victimize as an out. But we have to sack the food for life, so I don't know that we have outs anymore. Yeah, we've lost so many games at 4-0 this season. I guess we could do something like I guess we can't rumble into... We could rumble into Ygra. To do another Bowmaster. Yeah, I have to go rumble into Ygra, I think. Maybe that's... I think we're still 1 short, actually. Very tough 4-1. Very tough 4-1. Could have played tighter. It's very weird decision trees. Woodlands. I think we were missing a cat, right, for Woodlands to be an out. Yeah, we're gonna run it back though. I mean, this deck is looking very promising. I think it's been very good. Let's try White of the Reliquary as a build. White of the Reliquary is a card I like, and it's kind of nice with all like the self mill.